Folks, welcome to an all-new So Bad It's Good. This is your Friday episode, and this is your pal Ryan. We are covering the season premiere of Summer House. Woo! A great show where we see a lot of old fogies party with younger kids because we have new cast members that look like they are barely legal hanging out with like a 40-plus crowd, which is sort of how, I mean, that if that doesn't scream the Hamptons, I don't know what does. So I had a lot of fun with this episode just watching it. Like, you've got to kind of not temper your expectations, but I guess lower them a bit, because Summer House has always worked in terms of like the monotony of just watching people walk around a summer house during the day, seeing the Amazon packages scattered on the front porch, seeing Loverboy just placed indiscriminately around the house, having Lindsay's sonogram in a big poster-sized form above a mantelpiece. It's these little moments that make Summer House so special. Now, thankfully, we have a cast that has, I don't know if gelled is the right word, but they know each other. These are real people in each other's lives. There are real relationships, and, you don't feel like these people are just getting to know each other for the first time. So it's that kind of back to school vibe, first day of school. What did you do this summer? Oh, Kyle cut his mullet. Great. So it's these little things like, you had a hibachi guy in the backyard doing a backyard hibachi moment. You had Kyle setting up his DJ equipment, just little moments of no real consequence. But I think it's turns out to be greater than the sum of its parts. I walked away feeling really happy that I get to watch this show. I mean, you have Wes and Jesse in their second season, and this is just one big STD test waiting to happen when you see them hang out with each other. I want to shower and I want to shower them, and I want to shower with them. I'll say it. And then you have these two new cast members, Lexi and Bailey. And Lexi, I guess, her and Jesse are already committed to each other by the end of this episode. Bailey, I think her name is, she wasn't even at the party last night for the Summer House premiere, I noticed. And she's not in really, I don't believe, the cast photo. So did Bailey die during the season? What happened? Can somebody tell me what happened to Bailey? But you had some insane moments. Lindsay obviously announcing her pregnancy. This is something we already knew because we lived it on Instagram because, we were there on the 4th of July when she posted this. So it was really interesting to get that perspective of watching her do that and giving like a 10-page monologue about what led up to this pregnancy. And all the while, Carl is not there for the first night, which I think was a smart producer move in the sense of, that's a pretty intense moment. Let's not have a camera on his face. Let's let him get his bearings and he'll come in the next day, which is where we end the episode. Now, what I kept teasing this week, and I saw this episode last week, and I thought the episode was great, but what really titillated me, yeah, I'll say it, titillated, is at the very end of this episode, they do the trailer for the season. And we had seen that trailer for the season already, except they added like a 10-second clip where it does confirm that they picked back up cameras after Paige and Craig's breakup, which is only fair because they picked back up cameras for Southern Charm, and we saw that in the mid-season trailer where Craig, carrying a Diet Coke, sadly walking up the stairs to Austin's place where Shep is waiting, and he reveals that he bought a ring for Paige because she asked him to, right? So we got that, so of course it's only fair to get Paige's reaction, but Paige's reaction, what really stood out to me, and it was almost this ultimate tease by Bravo, and I don't know if we're necessarily being led to the right. I feel like there's more to what Paige is saying than they showed us. And what she said was, he wants to make me out to be the bad guy, like I'm the one that cheated. I caught him texting 2 bitches in our relationship, which is always great because that quote was picked up by like Page 6 and stuff. So I love seeing that as a headline. Paige DeSorbo says Craig Conover was texting 2 bitches during their relationship. But I'm hesitant to fully believe, not that Paige is lying, but I think there's more to that story that we're not going to see yet. So I'm like, I've been teased by Bravo before, not me personally. I mean, maybe me personally, but I've been told certain things by Bravo in terms of watching a show or an episode and thinking, oh, that's going to go crazy. And then it turns out to be nothing. This could be one of those moments, but they know that it will ignite the fan base. And I posted about it last night and I had people argue. People are still arguing in my comments of like Team Paige, Team Craig. We're all adults. There's no teams here. I could be wrong, but this is not a Sandoval level event. It's just a relationship that ran its course, sadly. And usually it's the man doing it to the woman, but we are taking extra pity on Craig because the woman did it to the man. And at the end of the day, we just have to accept it. You can feel bad for Craig, but it takes two to tango. And yes, I think Paige is probably a little harder than Craig is. Craig's a soft boy, right? Lindsay and Ciara were on Watch What Happens Live directly after this episode of Summer House, and Ciara even joked about Craig being soft, and that Paige needs like a real man. And I was like, oh geez, because I'm proudly soft. Like I'm soft in my belly, I'm soft in my mind, I'm just all around soft, and I don't give a shit about like tough male but I just love that Paige needs to be roughed around a little bit. She needs to be told what to do and when to do it. Like that is wild to me, but whatever. Everybody's attracted to what they're attracted to. I guess the big bone of contention here is, did Paige start this relationship with this dude that she was holding hands with at the Super Bowl? Because a lot of people snuck pictures of them holding hands. If they broke up after Thanksgiving, how do you start a relationship where you then spend New Year's Eve with this dude, right? I don't know. Things can start quickly, but I think people want to believe that they were in each other's DMs. His ex-fiance posted something on her Instagram stories a while back, kind of alluding to, not saying Paige, but alluding to that someone was not being a girl's girl and was making her uncomfortable, and proceeded to, I think, talk to her then fiance. I'm sure we'll find out more. Listen, if Paige is single, she can date whoever she wants. I think the slippery slope is, did she have these conversations going with this dude, maybe first starting out as friends, and then maybe she felt something was there, and then decided, you know what, I think me and Craig, we need to stop that, so she could feel better about moving on with this guy. I don't want to believe that, but also if that's true, then good. She dumped Craig so she could do that. Like she wasn't just continuing the relationship with Craig and then, hooking up with this dude on the side. But that is totally her. That's totally her right. And I just find the vitriol that I was reading that some of you have for Paige. Like, I always joked about her just laying in bed like a bed bug, but I don't know. The vitriol is wild. We've seen Craig from the very beginning of Southern Charm, being a reckless young man and kind of growing up, but still has tendencies. If you watch tonight's Southern Charm, he was bitching about having to share a room, and he was getting real bratty about it. And I think Paige eventually got the ick from Craig. And you're saying, oh, how could you get the ick from such a handsome man? Well, I don't know. It happened. We're all different special snowflakes and all have different feelings, and things just happen. But I hate that this is now going to be dragged on until the end of Summer House, which won't be for like another 3 months. And then we'll get the rest of that scene. I don't think Craig has responded directly to these allegations of texting two bitches during the course of his relation. And by the way, guys, I'm not saying bitches. Paige said bitches. I'm just repeating what she said. But I hope Paige can take her foot off the gas a little bit, because I've noticed her liking some posts that are and putting some things in her Instagram stories. By the way, I didn't notice. I've been sent those. I've been blocked by Paige a while back, so I haven't necessarily seen them with my own eyes directly on her page, but they've been sent to me. And that is a little Khloe Kardashian for me. You'd always know when Khloe was going through something, because she'd start posting weird quotes on her Instagram stories, and you'd be like, oh, Khloe's going through it. And it just goes to show you, no matter how many millions of dollars you have, you will still be a goofy fool on social media. And I think Paige is better than that. And I don't know. I'm still at this point. You heard me talk about this maybe with Sophie at the Pop Culture Roundup and a couple of times now. I still am not getting it through my thick head why Craig would need to stand up for Paige in the press saying that Paige did not cheat. Why does he have to be involved at all? Why does Craig, who has been broken up with. And whether you want to believe it or not, I do believe he's a little brokenhearted about it. It doesn't mean we need to pity him and coddle him and say he is sorry, I had a soup tonight. He's the victor in all of this. But like, he did get broken up with, and he did seem like he wanted to spend whatever remaining life he has with Paige. I mean, that's just it. Why? I mean, but I don't think that makes Paige a bad guy. But I think Paige is potentially a little colder, a little smarter, and a little funnier than Craig is, and is able to move on. But I think she's pissed to be branded with this, because I think, you know, if we're just to speculate, she's like, I did everything right. I did it by the book. This is what you're supposed to do. I didn't kiss this dude until I told him we were done. But I want to know what like Lindsay and Ciara and the rest of the Summer House cast have on Craig, because they really do come at him slightly hard. Like Ciara came at him hard last night on Watch What Happens Live and said, oh, he could have done that for her. He knows what he's doing, letting people come after Paige. Paige can handle herself. Like Paige literally, I mean, I would be scared to be chewed out by Paige, because you know she would pick the perfect words that would also make you laugh and completely humiliate you. So I'm so curious why Craig is supposed to then make a public announcement that she did not cheat. Like, I don't know. That just feels like a slap on top of a slap. So those are my thoughts. That's at the very last second of this episode. In fact, some people didn't stick around to actually see that clip, but if you're online, you probably saw it at some point today. How are you guys? I realized I just started right into it because we got a lot to cover. We gotta talk about these people's swimsuits, and you know, Jesse and Wes talked about jaying off, which I looked this up. That means jacking off. Yeah. I hope you're not listening with your kids. If you are, kids, sit down. I need to tell you something about your bodies. No. We had a great week of shows. We have so many interviews you haven't even heard yet that I did this week. We had the Beverly Hills recap yesterday. We had the Muslim matchmakers from the new Hulu show Muslim Matchmaker on, plus a pop culture roundup. We had Brian Moylan. We had Watch What Crappens. We had Sophie Ross. I make this look easy. No, actually, I make it look very hard, but I'm doing it, right? And all you have to do is listen to a couple of commercials. That's a pretty good deal. Finally, did you see the Traitors tonight? We'll do a full recap with Bergie on Saturday, and I think Bergie's girlfriend's going to join us as well. This Tom Sandoval, he's going to accidentally win the Traitors. I'm getting the feeling he is going to accidentally win. Whoever's listening, mark this, that I said this, right? He is going to accidentally win the Traitors. Tune in on Saturday afternoon when we release this episode, because I have theories about why he is going to win at this point. But he had so many ridiculous moments. We got to hear him sing. We got to see the reactions of the other faithfuls, realizing that Tom Sandoval is a horrible singer. La da da da. What's up, dude? I'm singing with these dolls. Oh, yeah, yeah. If you've seen the episode, that's exactly how he sounded. And then at the round table, you guys, he was like, dude, it's statistically proven that women cheat more than men, or some shit like that, where everybody at the table was like, what the fuck? Wait, are you, that came out of your mouth? And Gabby Windy was like, banish Tom immediately. It was so funny. The gameplay is so sloppy in this episode, but like, that's why I said last week, you've got to start looking at this as just a straight up comedy. Like the gameplay is lesser, like Boston Rob not being there makes the gameplay lesser. But I think it's going to pick up in gameplay next episode, but just overall, another hysterical episode. And watching Alan Cummings' reactions to the cast, like watching him watch Tom Sandoval sing into a payphone was hysterical. I could watch this man's reactions to. I want to watch Summer House with Alan Cummings. I think that would be me and Alan Cummings just recap Summer House. Ryan, I love Jesse Solomon, the traitor. Every time I watch one of these shows now, I just think about, could Wes Wilson be on the Traitors? I mean, Paige DeSorbo definitely could. Ciara is there now. Kyle was on the first season of the Traitors. Like, I want everybody to get a chance at being in the Traitors. I think it's so fun to imagine your favorite reality stars there. Okay. So, folks, let's get going here. This episode, where is your place, Ryan? Talk amongst yourselves. We are doing some business right now. What are you doing this weekend? Remember, there's a new episode of Severance that just came out. If you're into the old Severance like I am, I am going to have to pause this because I can't find. And now I can't find where to pause the show. There it is. Okay, this episode is entitled Uncharted Territory. The description they put on Peacock says, as the housemates return to the Hamptons for another summer, Lindsay arrives with a big secret. And of course, we find out that secret later is she is now a Scientologist. No, she's pregnant, folks. She is pregnant. So we start off with clips of last season's finale. And remember where we were. Remember, Carl and Lindsay broke it off. Carl kind of broke it off with her. And I think he had that plan all along. And also Wes and Ciara. Wes kind of didn't dump Ciara, but obviously it was relayed to her that this was not going to go further. And Andy Cohen asks this cast, are you going to be able to send it under one roof again? And I love that because it's like, yeah, we'll be able to send it for a paycheck. Are you kidding me? Of course we're going to be able to send it. Poor Kyle. I worry about his body, though. So 2 months later, we're in the big city. It's Thursday, July 4th, 11:54 a.m. And I've always said this about Summer House. I love their usage of specific time, but I also think they lie through their flippin' teeth because I need proof that this is 11:54 a.m. Like, is it truly 11:54 a.m.? Or are they just messing with us? Like, why? You could just say noon, 11:54. It's so specific that it gets me excited. We see all the hustle and bustle of the big city, and then Paige is wheeling her luggage out to Ciara in the car. She has a big Stanley, as every girl in the city has, and they are going to drive into the summer house together, right? This is how summer house works. They drive from the city to the summer house, they party for a couple of days, and then they drive back to the city. Paige says that she's an independent woman. She can get her own luggage. So they get in the car, and Ciara says it's only going to be 2 hours and 8 minutes to get to the summer house, which I think is pretty good time. And so they leave, more shots of the city, and then Kyle is packing up his car, and Amanda Batula is getting in. They are still together, going strong. And Kyle's like, oh my God, there's no traffic, dude. And Amanda's like, let's go, let's go. And so they take off. We are headed towards the summer house. And Kyle says, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this. I feel like you haven't seen your girls in a while, Amanda. And Amanda's like, I know, everyone's been busy and traveling. Ciara was like traveling here, like going to this place. Paige hasn't even been in the country. And then we cut to Ciara and Paige. And Ciara was like, how was Italy? And Paige is like, it was so nice. And Ciara's like, did Craig come halfway through? And I'm like, oh, good, Craig. We're bringing up Craig immediately. We see a picture in Italy of Craig topless, sans blouse, posing with Paige in Italy. And Paige says, yeah, Craig came for like 4 or 5 days into the trip. So it was just my family at the beginning. And me and my brother, honestly, she says, just ganged up on Craig the whole time. Every time he talked, we'd be like, shut up, Craig. So obviously the signs were there. The signs were there, folks. Maybe we just weren't seeing the signs. Paige says, Ciara, how was Traitors? And Ciara was like, oh, whirlwind. And we do a clip of her being put into a coffin on an earlier episode of the Traitors where Ciara's like, I'm going to find you traitors and hunt you fucking down. Ciara lets Paige know it was so mentally exhausting. Everyone was crying. Sandoval was singing horribly, and she's like, this all happened by the second day. In a talking head, Ciara says, I've been locked away in a castle in Scotland, northern Scotland, damn near Arctic. I feel honestly so out of the loop. I got 30 minutes of phone time every 6 days, but I couldn't go on social media, she says. So basically, I just looked at my text messages and didn't respond. Typical. Ciara says, typical. Girl code, don't text back. No, but that's what they do. Bergie let us know that. You only get like 30 minutes of phone time, and your phone time is watched by somebody that works on the Traitors. And also that feels so freeing to not have to be on your phone, to be forced to be off of your phone. Anyways, Paige says, Ciara, I saw you were with Jesse. How was that? And we see a picture from over the summer of Jesse and Ciara posting on Instagram stories. And she was like, fine. And Paige's like, did he say anything about West? And Ciara's like, honestly, no. And Paige is like, how do you think he's going to be? And Ciara's like, I mean, I'd be shocked if his head is not as inflated as it seems via social media and every other outlet and every other podcast. But I will say there's a high probability I put my dick on the table tonight and make it very clear Wes is a fucking loser. Loving this energy from Ciara. Now, the thing is, Ciara's like fake it till you make it, because I don't truly believe Ciara. I think Ciara is a soft soul inside. And so we've noticed, and I really credit this to hanging out with Paige, she talks tougher than she's ever talked. It's been building season after season, and you saw it on the Traitors. She loves to use the F word, so do I. And she's just like, Wes is a fucking loser. I will say with Wes Wilson, though, I really liked Wes. I like Wes, but I do think this dude goes hard, man. He works for Complex, so he's always at all the sporting events. He's always making his TikToks. You can tell this dude is super into himself, but I do wonder, like I had friends like that, and then, you know, you would talk to him like years down the road, and they'd be like, I was a nervous wreck inside. I was constantly doubting myself. I was just trying to play it cool. But this guy's always got like a dirty mustache, you know, like he's always looks like he's wearing like clothes that he got from Goodwill, but he's like, you know, that's the hip thing to do. Always eating some kind of like New York culinary thing on a sidewalk. I don't know. Anyways, this guy is going hard. And as Sophie and me talked about, Sophie said the rumor going around was Wes Wilson likes butt stuff. You didn't hear it here, folks. You didn't hear it here first, folks. Anyways, we have a song. I heard you like 'em bad with a touch of crazy. We see shots of the Hamptons, and Kyle and Amanda are the first to pull up. Oh, no, sorry. Wes and Jesse are the first to pull up. Wes and Jesse. Wes is wearing like a it's not a straw cowboy hat. Kind of, yeah, like a straw cowboy hat. They're bringing in their luggage, and Wes is like, I wonder if the door's fixed. And the door is still like stuck. You know how the Summer House door sticks? And we see a bunch of like Amazon packages. Not usually we have way more Amazon packages out at the front steps than I see here, but it's still enough Amazon packages where it got me excited. And I do love that nobody ever brings in the Amazon packages. They just leave them in front of the door. And so they come in. Wes Wilson also kind of looks like an updated version of Hulk Hogan. I don't know if I'm the only one that sees that. We have 6 boxes. Plink, 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 plink. So we see every angle of the summer house, the pool, the foyer, the bedrooms. And Wes and Jesse are like, home sweet home. And Jesse's like, first one's here, dude. First ones. Rooms. We got to pick out the rooms. And so they're wandering around. This is like always my favorite scenes of The Real World. Whoever got there first was like picking out the good room. And Jesse Solomon's like, I can't go straight master, can I? Can I take the master bedroom? The BR? And Wes is like, dude, Danielle, I miss you, but that is a nice room. Remember, Danielle is not part of the Summer House cast this season. So there's a bedroom with double beds, and they're like, whoa, should we do double beds? Should we bunk together? Now they turned this room into 2 beds instead of 1 bed like they had last summer. Now there's 2 beds in there. Very exciting updates with this season of Summer House. Jesse says, I feel like we're the energy. We should just dominate the 2 single rooms downstairs, right? And Wes goes, okay, but here's the thing. We each get our own room here, but we'd have to commute to the bathroom, right? Double bed upstairs, we have our own bathroom, dude. It's up to you, though, Jesse. And Jesse's thinking about this harder than he's ever thought about anything in his life. And Jesse goes, I would prefer to walk to the bathroom. And Wes takes that in and he goes, okay, that hurts my feelings a little, but we'll figure it out. Deal. So I think Wes is just scared that he's going to be naked with some girl and he has to go wipe off his junk, you know, and then he's going to have to walk outside to the bathroom. But he's willing to do it for his life partner, Jesse Solomon. So Jesse is going into his single bed. Wes is going into his single bed. And then Jesse comes into Wes and he goes, I mean, being roommates would be funny. And Wes is like, you want to just do it, brother? Oh, dude, the 1 room with 2 beds. We're like, we got dibs, dude. And Wes is like, I love a bunk bedroom, dude. I think it's funny. It's the most giggles, dude, and I like to giggle. Consider me giggly squad, bro. And Jesse's like, I don't think I could have any more fun with anybody than with you. Double bedroom. This is how so many threesomes start. It's so, because you're like, no, double bedroom. Cut to, yeah, come on in. It's just me and my roommate, Jesse Solomon. So they go into this bedroom, and Jesse in a talking head says, I'm so happy going into this summer. I'm ready for action. Not just because I got a clean cancer check. Remember, he has had cancer multiple times, and he was worried he had it again last season, but it came back clean, which is so exciting. And then Jesse, they're putting their stuff in their double bedroom, and Jesse Solomon very astutely says, the only issue, no Jay in it. And then Wes goes, do you Jay it in this house? And Jesse goes, never. Yeah. And then Wes goes, 'cause I do. Wes, we know you jack off here. And then Jesse goes, I think I jaded in the bathroom once. So you did jay it. Dude, these people have jaded all over this place. They fucking jaded in the pool. Jaded at those weird parties they have. They've just jaded in front of people. These guys are jaying all over the place. So they walk into the kitchen, and Jesse's like, are you excited to see Ciara? And Wes is like, I don't know about excited. And Jesse's like, excited to get it out of the way? And then in a talking head, the producer asks Wes, when is the last time you saw Ciara? And he's like, oh, the day after the reunion, we met up at a bar. And I just remember her being like, you didn't say anything at the reunion. Remember how Wes was like so nervous and he was like so quiet and he sweated through his suit? I've been there. But she was saying at the reunion, she literally got the bare minimum out of Wes. And Wes says, I was caught off guard, I think, and I wasn't prepared at all. Clearly, I think her feelers were really hurt, and that's fucking valid, and I feel bad for that. I won't Jay anywhere near her, right? But, I don't know how else you would break up with someone, or how else you would end a relationship. It's been 7 months at this point, so I feel like we can be cordial. No, Wes, you can't. He tells Jesse, the only thing that I have worries over is the first hey, and then I think it'll be fine after. And he's like, do you have any idea who's coming, Jesse? And Jesse goes, I heard a rumor. And Wes like, huh? And Jesse's like, that there could be a girl. He says this so creepy. It feels very Silence of the Lambs, right? And Jesse's like, I heard she's hot. Yeah, when are they going to put Uggos in the summer house? A lot of dumpy people this summer, bad news bears, right? Anyways, in Kyle and Amanda's car, Amanda says, so we have new friends coming to the house this summer. And Kyle's like, I talked to Lexi, who was one of the new girls. She sounded super nice, super bubbly. I like that Kyle does the intake calls for the new people of the summer house. They have to, it's like Lumen on Severance. He's Mr. Milchick, welcome to the summer house. Amanda says, Lexi is the sweetest. She is on the younger side. And Kyle looks over, what's young? And Amanda's like, well, mid-20s. And Kyle's like, holy shit. It is getting weird. The age, if we go younger on the summer house, there's going to be a situation. I'm not saying Epstein, but I am saying it's a weird situation, right? Kyle's like, I don't let it faze me, though. So Ciara and Paige, Lexi and Bailey pull up. And I'm telling you, this is where I was like, oh, they look really young. They're cute, but they look really young. And they knock for the first time at the summer house, and they walk in the door. The power this must feel that surges through your body when you walk into the summer house the first time. I hope to one day walk into this summer house. And they say, we've come bearing groceries. And Jesse immediately locks in on Lexi. And he's like, you look so pretty. And they hug, and Lexi's like, you're tall, which in girl code means I really like you. And Jesse's like, what's your name? And she's like, Lexi. Oh, I'm Jesse. And this is Bailey, Lexi says. And so they all do the hug thing. I'm feeling so skeeved out by these guys hugging these girls. And Wes is like, are you guys best friends or new friends? And Bailey's like, besties. And Lexi says they live down the street from each other. Lexi is from Toronto. Jesse's like, oh, how about that? Yeah, Canada. And then Jesse's like, why are all hot girls from Toronto? And then Wes opens the fridge and we just see a pile of Loverboy in there. Every time you see Loverboy packaging, Kyle like gets like a semi. He's like, oh, fuck yeah. That's what we call branding, folks. Anyways, Jesse keeps going with this weird line of questioning like about Canada. He's like, there's something in the water up there, isn't there, girls? Bailey's from Kentucky, Lexington. And Wes is like, I'm from Missouri, so we're like border states. Sleep with me. They all grab a fresh Loverboy. Very exciting. They cheers, our first cheers of the season. So it's interesting. They picked the second season boys and the new girls to enter the house first. You always got to pay attention to who enters first. Wes asks these girls if they're legal. Like, hell yeah, how old are you? And they're like 26. He's like, oh, sweet, nice. And they're like, how old are you guys? And he's like, I'm 29. And Jesse's like, I'm 31. And Lexi goes, ooh, purr. And Jesse's like, what'd you say? Did you say purr? Is that a good age, 31? And Lexi's like, I think so. I think that's actually a great age. And Jesse's like, hell yeah, brother. It's going to be a nice summer. We go outside in the backyard. He's like, this is our backyard, ladies. Sometimes there's a dance floor over here. Obviously the pool. Sometimes there'll be a mechanical bull over there. Kyle will projectile vomit from that deck up there. So real good times are to be had back here. Lexi says, knock on wood, which I feel like I can knock on myself because my last name's Wood. And Jesse's like, your last name's Wood? And Wes is like, wait, actually, that's kind of sick. Lexi Wood? And Jesse's like, what's your middle name? And Lexi's like, Diane. And Jesse goes, I thought it might have been Gives Me. Get it? Lexi Gives Me Wood. And Lexi asks like this is the funniest thing she's ever heard. Oh! West even thinks this is too much for him. He's like, oh God, what did you do, dude? Jesse thinks he's like Dave Chappelle at this point. And she goes, I've never heard that before. In a talking head, she says, I've heard that joke 1,000 times. But like it was the first time for him to tell me. So technically I didn't really lie. I appreciate that, though. Starting the summer great. Yeah, starting the summer great with like a boner joke about yourself. It's great. Lexi says, I genuinely go for somebody that can be silly with me. Tell a lot of like boner jokes, right? She says she does love a good dad joke and teeth. For some reason, I love teeth. And this Jesse's got so many teeth. He leads with teeth, right? So they're already smitten with each other. And Jesse's like, let's finish the tour, ladies. Kyle and Amanda are pulling in as they go upstairs to show these ladies the rest of the house. They let the girls know that there's 10 humans that stay here. Amanda says, I want to bring in a suitcase so that I can claim my territory. I like she says my, not our. Jesse now backtracks on the 10 and says there's actually 11 humans here. Wes opens the door, excited to see Kyle and Amanda. He's like, what's up, summer house? Woo! Who needs help with their fucking bags? All right. So we get the hugs. This is what I'm telling you. It's like first day of school vibes, right? Kyle looks so much better without a mullet. We can say it. Like I was like appreciating the art behind the mullet, and I think he kind of sold me on it over the years, but it is so, I'm like, it is good that it's gone. We can all admit that, right? So Amanda comes in, hugs Lexi because she kind of knows Lexi, but these girls still look so young. It's wild. Amanda says, Lexi and I met at an event. She's super sweet, bubbly. She's like a little puppy, and I just want to cuddle her. She hugs Bailey. So just like a bunch of friendly hugs. Amanda says Bailey and I have mutual friends that we met through. She's just like a quirky, spunky girl. I get her awkwardness. So I love when they try to like, oh, I know the tertiary relationships. Like, oh no, I know a friend of a friend and we used to party together. So I invited them for the whole summer. Of course. Anyways, they hug Kyle. He's like, good to meet you in person. I'm the leader of this summer house. And Amanda's like, sorry, you've been stuck with these two schmucks, Jesse and Wes. And Lexi's like, these boys were really good hosts. Jesse's like, did you hear my gives me joke? Lexi gives me wood. Wes says, do we know what time Paige and Ciara are leaving by chance? You can tell he's really nervous. It's 5:47 p.m. and this is when Ciara and Paige are pulling up. And Ciara's like, you know what? I'm not in my toddler era anymore. I'm like, fuck you, fuck. She's saying the F word all over the place. Paige needs to pee so bad. Ciara walks in, and Paige walks in. So Paige walks in first, and Wes turns around, and you can tell he's like scared, like the anticipatory scared fear. So this is great. Paige hugs Kyle, right? Then Ciara hugs Kyle. Everybody's hugging everybody. And then Wes is kind of around the Ciara zone trying to maybe potentially get a hug and say hello. And you can tell he's super nervous. He looks like Robin Williams. And then all of a sudden, like he like is face to face with Ciara and he's kind of ready for a hug. And she just pats him on the chest and goes, "How you doing? How you doing?" And he's like, okay. And then she immediately goes in for a hug with Jesse. Ciara's like, "Bring it in, Jesse." And then Wes just keeps drinking his lover boy. So already he's like, this is not going how I wanted it to go. But good. Good for Ciara for sticking to her guns, right? Now they are in the kitchen. Everybody's, talking about lover boys. And Wes, you can just tell, is still a little stung from that chest pat. They go into the backyard, Kyle and West. And he's like, "Get me out of that room, Kyle. It's going to be a long summer, Kyle. I tried to hug her and she slapped my arm away, dude." And he's like, "Really? Oh, dude, no way." And then Kyle, in his infinite wisdom, goes, Diplo has a song called "Sad Summer." Because Kyle's a DJ now. So he's like, Fatboy Slim once said, "Girls, what are they good for? Am I right, my man?" Oh, so the girls are inside in the kitchen, and Amanda's like, Amanda is relaying that Wes was scared about the Ciara interaction. She's like, "Oh, Wes said, I'm going to go last in the hugs." And Ciara's like, "Yeah, he should go last." And Paige's like, "Did you hug?" And Ciara's like, "He tried to like put his arm around me." And I literally was like, "No." And Amanda's like imitating it. This is a very "Tell me more, Grease. Tell me more, tell me more. Did you get very far? Tell me more, tell me more. She patted me on the chest. Bop, bop, shoot a bop, bop, shoot a bop, bop. But Ciara's like, I literally took his hand and I was like, "Don't fucking touch me." You didn't say "don't fucking touch me." You just removed the hand. And Lexi's like, "Wait, what?" And Ciara's like, "Last summer, me and Wes kind of like had a thing, right? It didn't end well, Lexi. And we're still in the aftermath of it ending, right? Because he keeps doing press and New York Times articles." And Amanda's like, "Yeah, he keeps running his mouth." And so I'm just like, "You're kind of like a little bitch boy," Ciara says. And Paige is like, "So we might accidentally drown him." And the girls are like, "Okay, yeah, okay, let's do it." In a talking head, Ciara says, "When I got back from Scotland doing the Traitors, I was bombarded with text messages, phone calls about Wes' New York Times article." And we see the New York Times article come on the screen. It says, "Wes Wilson of Summer House discusses his first taste of infamy. When Mr. Wilson was accused on the reunion of misleading Ciara Miller, his castmate and former romantic interest, fan backlash was swift." I love that this is New York Times material, right? But Ciara's like, "I have no tolerance for Wes right now, right? I don't even fake it." And she says, in this article, Wes is saying, "I just think the relationship ran its course and we're not each other's people. Have you ever said that to me?" No. The producer asked her, "Was there any part of you that thought maybe after the reunion you might give it another chance? You'd get back together?" And Ciara's like, "Oh, no, not answering that. No. Because I just..." And producer's like, "So you did?" And Ciara's like, "No, I will not play myself like that." Ciara, you could literally just say no. Say, "No, I didn't think we'd get back together at all." Instead, you do this like elongated, "I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not going to fall in that rabbit hole." No, you just literally like did a minute conversation about how, like, so she obviously did think they were going to get back together. So obviously very hurt feelings. All the guys are out there now still talking about the hand swatted away, the Wes being swatted away by Ciara. And Jesse's like, "That's a little extra, it is." And Wes is like, "Hey, did Carl and Lindsay hug each other when they get here?" And Kyle's like, "Fuck no." And he's like, "Probably not. No, they like go to weddings together and don't even speak." In the kitchen, Ciara's like, "The general consensus is we fucking hate boys." And then Lexi's like, "Unless they're really cute." And then Lexi goes, "I will say Jesse is cute." And Bailey goes, "Her horoscope said that she's going to kiss someone." And they're like, "Who volunteers?" Ciara's like, "When's Lindsay coming? Because she loves to make out with chicks." And Bailey says, I'm down to fiddle. I don't even know what that, I'm down to fiddle. I'm down to fiddle with some ladies. Yeah, play the fiddle. So now we see somebody stuck at the gate. And of course, it is our hero, Lindsay Hubbard. Lindsay is back, folks. She is back with a vengeance. So Lindsay came with Gabby, and Gabby is filling that role that Danielle used to have, like of kind of Lindsay's friend. And I really like Gabby. I just hope she has more of a storyline this season instead of just being there to kind of support Lindsay, if that makes sense. Now, Lindsay comes in kind of like a baggy white button-up shirt. And did you notice that Gabby had like a button-up pink shirt? Because she knows Lindsay's pregnant already. So I think she's trying to do her friend a solid and not have it come out suspicious that they're both wearing baggy shirts because one of them might be pregnant, right? So all the guys are helping the girls in with their luggage. Lindsay's already Lindsaying all over. Jesse's bragging about West and him sharing a room. And Lindsay's like, of course you are. Of course. Right. Okay. So Lindsay walks in to meet the new girls and like, hey, what's up? All right. We are so back, guys. And so we just get more hugs. And this is what I'm talking about. It's just kind of moments of life, like just really random, like just small moments. It's just like people hugging each other like, hey, good to see you. All right, let's hug again. A lot of hugging, but for some reason, I don't mind watching it. West is taking all of the ladies' bags in because I feel like he thinks that's going to make up some kind of ground with Ciara, even though these aren't his bags. It's going to make him look like a good guy, right? He's like, I'm sweating bringing all these bags, man. I'm sweating. All the ladies are drinking rosé. Lindsay, I was like watching to see if she drank, and Ciara says, Lindsay, is it weird for you to be back here? And she's like, kind of. And Lindsay reminds us the last time I was in this kitchen, I was getting gaslit as fuck. And we flash back to last season with Carl and Lindsay on that last episode. He's like, a partnership is you caring about how I feel and how you're making me feel. And Lindsay goes, those are fighting words. And he goes, I am not fighting you, Lindsay. I'm trying to communicate, but you shut it down by saying I'm fighting you. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I don't think he was like fully gaslighting her, but I just think it was obviously this really tense relationship. He might have been gaslighting her, but do we know when we're gaslighting somebody, or is it just gaslighting behavior? Like, or are you aware you're like, I am fucking gaslighting it up right now. But obviously, Lindsay, very happy, effervescent. She's on her feet. She's a survivor. And Carl's not here. Lindsay goes, well, here we are, almost a year later, cheersing to a new son. Jesse's like, let's take a quick shot, everybody. Let's get this. Let's send it, right? All right. And he's already trying to get Lexi to do a shot. Like, Lexi, let's get you a shot. Let's get a shot in you, girl. They're such like flirties already. She's like so smiling. And Jesse's like, hey, they say you'll have bad sex for a year if you don't cheers and look each other in the eye. And Paige is catching this, and you can tell she's like all skeeved out. And Lexi's like, I personally like eye contact, so. And he's like, do ya? Like, I like that Jesse thinks he's like very witty. He's like, do ya? Hey, did you like that? I just said, do ya? And Jesse's like, well, I'll be looking at you when I'm cheersing then, Lexi. And she like turns to Bailey. She's like, thank you so much. And they're like, is this all of us? And Jesse says, well, Carl's coming tomorrow. And Kyle's like, yeah, I think Carl was like, hey, we'll ease our way into this new dynamic respectfully, right? I think he was respectfully trying to like make it easier for everybody, i.e. Lindsay. So he'll be here tomorrow. There's an awkward silence. And Lindsay's like, okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. So they're cheersing shots and some rosé and whatever Lindsay's pretending to drink. And Amanda lets us know she has a guy coming over to do hibachi in the backyard. And they're like, whoa, fucking hibachi. Are you kidding me? They're really excited about hibachi. And Amanda's like, he'll set up, he'll clean up. And Jesse's like, I'm so excited for hibachi. So we got to be ready in an hour. Okay. And so we're still fighting over some rooms. I guess Jesse and Wes are the only people that have chosen their room so far, but they're trying to do this in a mature way. And Lindsay just says, I would prefer not to be in my old room. I would take Danielle's room, right? And they're like, that's a good room. Because of course, yeah, if you wouldn't want to be in the room that you didn't sleep with Carl in all of last summer, right? And Gabby's like, is there enough rooms or do we all have to double up? And they're like, I don't know. We have to count in person. And Amanda says, Kyle and I are doubling up. I love Amanda's like, I want as many boundaries as physical contact with Kyle as possible. I need like a human shield from Kyle and his junk for most of the summer. And Lindsay goes, Amanda's like, I've been trying to not double up for years. And Lindsay's like, yeah, that way he won't come in at 4 a.m. and wake you up. Ciara and Paige are like, should we share a room? And Paige is like, how could we not? And then Jesse's there with Lexi and Bailey. He's like, you ladies could just bunk up with us. Yeah, all right. We're good guys. We're good guys. We wear protection. You know what I'm saying? Amanda's lugging her luggage into the master bedroom. But remember, it's not just one bedroom, and there's multiple bedrooms, multiple beds in that master bedroom now. This is what I'm saying. There's not really much here, but I could watch this kind of just like other shows. I couldn't watch bland, just like walking around room to room. But for some reason, I love it with the Summer House. It's got its own vibe, right? And then Ciara's walking up the stairs. Jesse's behind her, and she's like, "Hey, I like your skirt." This Jesse, man, is he extra creepy this season? And I mean, like, he's cute creepy. Like, it's not like I don't think you'd be scared of Jesse because he's so tall and has so many teeth, but he's just so aggressive and is flirting with everybody, right? I can't be the only one that noticed that. He tells Ciara, is this our summer, right? Is it finally our time, huh? I love that. It's just like he's a fisherman throwing in lines everywhere. He's like, one of these, I'm going to get a bite on. But he's laughing. He's like, hey, all right. Oh. Lindsay's in her room talking to herself, saying, it's kind of nice having a room to myself. No 6'5" men crowding me. Carl's 6'5", by the way. No 6'5" men crowding me, trying not to sleep with, trying to continue to not have sex with me, right? Anyways, Jesse is peeing in Ciara's sink, I think. I don't know. That's what it looked like. Weird. I love peeing in sinks, right? Am I the one? So they wind up in Paige and Ciara's room, all in the bed, and it's Jesse, Paige, and Ciara. And Paige is like, what do you think of the new girls? By the way, Paige is already in her coffin pose. You know, the pose she does best, just laying in bed, like stiff as a board. It's like, what do you think of the girls? And Jesse's like, Lexi's cute. Definitely a bit ditzy from what I can tell. And Paige is like, I think she's just Canadian. We see Lexi and Bailey pick out their rooms. He's like, I'm going to take it slow, though, with Lexi, just like, because strings do be attached. You know how it is? And then Paige goes, she said you were cute. And Jesse's like, she did? I'm going to marry her. No. He goes, nice. I don't know. They're all having fun with each other, and I like to see it. I like to watch these crazy kids have a good time. They deserve it. I don't know if that's true, but anyways, they ask Jesse, hey, how was your car ride up? Was Wes nervous? And Jesse's like, no, Wes thought everything was going to be normal. And we see a sad shot of Wes in another room drinking out of a red Solo cup. Jesse's like, but then he said he tried to hug you, Ciara, and you swatted his hand away. And Ciara's like, yeah, what? Fucking good God. And Jesse's like, what are you mad about, Ciara? And Ciara's like, oh, honey, I'm not mad about anything. I think he's annoying, and I think he's a fucking loser. And Paige's like, but she's not mad. And Jesse's like, I don't care, but I fucking hate him, and he's a loser. But I don't care. It is one of those things where I wonder if Wes did like, hey, can we be together? I feel like she'd almost immediately say yes, and I hate that. Now we cut back to Wes. He's no longer drinking sadly with a red Solo cup. He has taken his cowboy hat off, put the Solo cup down on a nightstand, and he's dancing by himself. He's like grooving, trying to practice TikTok dances. Jesse says, well, I hope we can all be friends, And Ciara's like, look, we're going to have a great summer individually and collectively as a group. I'll clear maybe something up a little bit later with him, but other than that, I'm fine. Right? And Jesse's like, okay. And Paige is like, run and tell your friend what you heard here. And Ciara's like, yeah, that's why you're getting limited information, Jesse. We see the 4 boxes, blink, 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 all different rooms. Wes is still practicing his dance. He's practicing snapping his fingers. Everybody's unpacking. We're getting the lay of the land. And Gabby and Lindsay are going over Lindsay's wardrobe for the night. She's like, these are pants. Or these are high-waisted and suck me in. Because the audience, we know she's pregnant. They don't know she's pregnant. Right? So they're trying to pick the right outfit. Lindsay's shutting the door as Jesse walks by so Jesse doesn't hear anything about her being preggers. And Gabby tells Lindsay, realistically, in your mind, how do you think this goes tonight? And Lindsay goes, okay, before dinner, you should be like, everyone let's meet in the living room, right? So that we can do a cheers to summer, you know? And Gabby's like, okay, so we're going to do it before dinner, the announcement. Okay, I love that. I love that. And Gabby goes, like, whatever you want to do to, like, get this the way you want to get it done. Like, Linz, look at me. Linz, look at me. This is like... And Lindsay goes, the biggest announcement of my entire life. And Gabby's like, this is like really happy. And she's like, I know. And Gabby's like, I want you to like enjoy it. I don't want you to be like, I want to get it over with. By the way, she's not feeling any rush at all because she legitimately gives a 30-minute monologue. And Lindsay goes, I mean, I do think everyone seems to be like in a good like vibe, which is good, right? But I like that it's not just the announcement with the summer house because remember, she timed it with the also release of the Instagram photo that she partnered with like the pee stick that tells you if you're pregnant. Like I remember I was on the beach on the 4th of July and just scrolling on my phone, you know, unplugging just at the beach, kind of in nature, scrolling on my phone on Instagram. And I'm like, no fucking way. Lindsay's pregnant because I'll remind you folks, remember I interviewed Lindsay in person when I was in New York and it was the day before the reunion and she flat out lied to me, which she has apologized to me since about lying to me. But I was like, yo, there's rumors. The word on these mean streets of Manhattan are you might be pregnant or something, you know, like, cause you never want to ask that pushy question. But at the same time, and she's like, no, she flat out lied to me. Lindsay's a good liar, man. That truly is a compliment. Lindsay goes, I have to practice my speech because I know like, and Gabby goes, you're not going to fuck it up. You have it memorized by heart. You do. I want to get Lindsay's like PDF file of this speech. I love that she truly wrote it down and memorized it like it was a Shakespearean monologue. So we cut to commercial. We come back. Amanda's unpacking stuff. How are we still bringing in luggage? What the fuck is going on? Wes and Jesse are in their room, like jaying each other off about the room. Like, oh, I love the vibe of our room. And they're like, yeah, this is a smart move to bunk together, dude. Totally smart move. The hibachi men are coming into the summer house with their hibachi hats on, which is a nice vibe. I love the costuming work in summer house at all times. Amanda welcomes them. So they're out in the backyard. Lexi is all dressed up. And I'm like, Jesse is going to freak out when he sees Lexi. So Wes is talking to Jesse about Lexi in their secret man cave room. And Jesse's like, I'm definitely excited about Lexi. It's just so touchy, you know? And Wes is like, yeah, I mean, dude, we like literally here just 2 minutes into the first quarter, man. What are we even doing? And Jesse's like, yeah, I also don't even know if she's single, right? We see 4 boxes again. Bling, 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 bling. Kyle is setting up his DJ equipment. DJ Summer House Diplo. Wes asks Kyle if he can wear shorts to dinner. And Kyle's like, I'm going to wear shorts. And Wes is like, okay. That's what I'm talking about. The banal conversations. Like just stupid conversations. Hey, you going to wear underwear with your shorts? Okay, I will too then. Like, I love it. We see the tables being set up outside for the hibachi. Kyle brings out his big DJ equipment and he's like, yeah, baby. All right. Paige and Ciara are talking in their room. And Paige says, I have this gut feeling like that they're actually going to become friends, Carl and Lindsay. And Ciara's like, again? And Paige is like, yeah, she's with a new guy. And I feel like she's going to be like, you have been my friend, Carl, for 10 years. Like, and Ciara's like, yeah, like, why can't we pick up where we left off? And Ciara's like, Paige, I think that's nuts. And Paige's like, yeah, that I guess that is nuts. But I could see Lindsay doing that. I could see, and by the way, did you notice that Lindsay, I said happy birthday, Carl, or liked Carl's birthday post last week? By the way, I'm a grown man. I'm like, did you guys notice she liked Carl's birthday post? Woo! The new girls go outside to help Amanda set up for dinner. Everybody is dressed to the nines for this hibachi dinner. I'm seeing a lot of skin from the ladies. Jesse's in jeans and a nice little crochet top. I don't know why the ladies are picking up all the furniture outside. So Jesse is trying to get Lexi to drink more. He's like, do you want vodka or tequila? And Lexi's like, I cry if I have vodka. And he's like, vodka it is then. And then Jesse goes, hey, by the way, are you guys single? And they're like, sí, which in Spanish means yes. And Lexi's smiling that she was asked. And then Lexi goes, what about you? And he's like, single. And Bailey lets us know that she's actually talking to this guy back in the city. And that's whose suitcase I have, which I didn't realize it has a fucking air tag in it, she says. And Jesse's like, wait, you're using a guy's suitcase, but you're single? And Bailey's like, yeah, it's well. And he's like, no, you're seeing a guy. And she's like, no, we're not serious though. And then he goes, hey, Bailey, I have a lot of extra suitcases. Like if you don't want to commit to this guy. And they're like, he's so funny. So Jesse pours them tequila drinks, which I'm sure are strong as balls, right? And they cheers. And Jesse's like, Bailey, you didn't look at me. It's going to be bad for you. Bad sex for a year. Jesse is just a chuckle a minute. So Lindsay is like, hey, don't forget, we're doing a cheers in the living room. I love that Lindsay's like so type A. Hey, don't forget this cheers. And you can tell she's nervous. She's wearing like this like kind of white little loose sports jacket. And Wes sits next to Lindsay and goes, hey, there's kind of rumors like you might be pregnant or something. And she's like, yeah, I heard that. It's like crazy. And he's like, yeah, it is crazy. I figured. So everybody's sitting around the couch now. And so here we go. And we have this big moment. And Gabby says, hey, we're all here for the summer. I want to give it to my main girl, Lindsay. She's got some things to say. She's got a little speech. And so they're all watching. And Paige is like, well, I didn't prepare anything. Do we all have to speak? And Lindsay goes, oh, that's okay. I didn't really prepare either. Lie. And Lindsay goes, I just wanted to say like a couple of words to, given that it's the first night, we have some new additions. It's your first year, and but we go through a lot. We go through it together as a Summer House family, whether you want to or not. And my personal journey has been nothing short of pretty much all over the place. And Kyle's like, where's this going? Wes has his mouth open, like, can we get to the hibachi already? And then Lindsay goes, a little history just to fill you guys in. 8 years ago, I had a boyfriend. And Kyle in a talking head goes, 8 years ago? We're going way back. Buckle up, people. We got a lot of ground to cover. And Lindsay goes, well, who slept in a bed with 4 girls and then told me it wasn't cheating. And we flash back to Lindsay fighting back in the day with her first boyfriend. Remember this dude? She's like, I'm going to go fuck 4 dudes in a bed. Oh my God. You guys got to catch up on old seasons of Summer House if you haven't. And then Lindsay continues, 7 years ago, I was single. It was fantastic. 6 years ago, I had an amazing time. And Kyle's like, devil's in the details. And she's like, I met a guy named Payman. And we flash back to her meeting Payman at this event 6 summers ago. I feel like I'm watching my life pass me by. And Kyle's like, where is this going? And Lindsay's like, remember that guy, Payman, right? And then we see it like a flash forward through the editing. And she's like, everything was great until he asked our friend Stassi why her top was still on. Talking about Kyle. That was the first night of the Summer House. And then we get a flash forward. Like, so she's continually talking. And she's like, 5 years ago, Carl and I tried to date. And we flash back to a scene of them first flirting when Carl was still drinking. And she was like, it was a disaster. 4 years ago, I had a boyfriend. And this was Stravi, remember? And we had the famous, how many sandwiches have you made for me? And she tells the crowd, this guy treated me like a 1950s housewife, sending me to the kitchen to make him sandwiches. And then we get another flash forward. But you can see like Kyle, like, what the fuck? Like Stravi, I didn't really think he treated her like a 1950s housewife. I mean, maybe it was a weird edit, but obviously they just weren't meant to be. Lindsay says 2 years ago, Carl proposed. We finally got to the Carl proposed. They put in a shot of the hibachi guys outside, just like twiddling their thumbs, waiting for Lindsay to finish her speech. He's like, 2 years ago, Carl proposed. And Kyle's like, Jesus, that was 2 years ago? And she's like, yeah. And just about 1 year ago, he abruptly called off the wedding and broke up with me. So here we are. My journey has been nothing short of disastrous, folks. But it's taken that journey in every step of the way to get me to where I am at today. The biggest lesson that I have learned is that the universe has its own plan. And the universe and my plan, and everybody's screaming. We don't see what Lindsay's doing, but everybody's like, whoa! And Jesse has like one eyebrow like up, like, what? He's the only one not screaming. We cut to commercial. We come back and she's like, I'm pregnant. And she literally shows like a blown up ultrasound of this baby. Could imagine you're working at like the FedEx Center, like you have Lindsay Hubbard coming in going, hey, I want you to discreetly blow this ultrasound up of my baby. Like she had to have sent somebody else, right? Because if I was working at that FedEx thing, I would have made a meme of like, oh my God, guess who just wanted me to make an 8x10? This is way bigger than an 8x10. But everybody's freaking out. They're like, we knew it. Oh my God. And Wes is like, yeah. And it's really interesting to watch everybody's reactions because Kyle's like, kind of like, he's skeptical. He's like, what, really? Amanda gets up to go hug her. She's like, I'm going to cry. Congratulations. And Jesse, he looks so judgmental. He's standing up. He's like, huh. And Paige is like, I just feel like I just became an aunt. Everybody's crying. And Kyle goes, it's not that size though, right? No, Kyle, it's a blown up photo. But everybody's saying congratulations, that they're happy for her. You're going to be such a good mom. And Wes notices that Jesse is not that excited. Lindsay in a talking head says, I honestly thought it was going to be like a hot girl summer. No shot. It is a hot pregnant summer for me. I wonder if Lindsay wrote that line in advance. She's like, what if I said a hot pregnant summer? So Wes is like, hey, dude, be happy, Wes. Like what? Be happy, dude. Come on. And in a talking head, Jesse goes, it's just weird. There's a pregnant lady here. So this whole time I thought the judgmental look was because that's my boy Carl. It's just fucking weird. It's so, instead he's like, we can't have pregnant people here. It's hard to get a boner with pregnant ladies here. This is fucking Summer House. No. So that's what his concern. He's like, I J all over this place, dude. So he finally hugs her. He's like, congrats. But then he does say in the talking head, I am concerned about how Carl is going to feel about Lindsay being pregnant. Just yesterday, we were in this house and Carl and Lindsay were talking about like if they were going to have a baby. I want them to be friends and have a good summer together. I do like Jesse because he's always so concerned that everybody have a good summer together. Every group needs that. Like, come on, man, we can all have a good summer together. I do like that about Jesse Solomon. But he says, I don't know if that's possible now. And they're like, how many weeks are you? And she's like, I'm 18 weeks. And Ciara's like, bitch, you're out of your first trimester? And they're like, oh my God. And she's like, yeah, I'm like almost halfway through. And they're like, were you pregnant at the reunion? And she was like, I was pregnant at the reunion. Yeah, I lied to Ryan Bailey about it. Lindsay in a talking head says, my whole strategy going into that reunion was if I'm not drinking, people are going to think that I'm weird. And so we see on reunion day, she's like popped a bottle of Cristal and drinking champagne with Gabby, getting her makeup, and it's being filmed. And she posted it on social media. So she was sneaky, man. She was like, I'm going to have them see that I'm drinking, so I couldn't be pregnant if I'm drinking. And Lindsay says, I actually poured Cristal out and poured non-alcoholic champagne in. Fucking Cristal is super expensive in terms of a champagne. And she just, this is Gone Girl shit, man. Like this, Lindsay is thinking she is playing 4D chess, man. And we see her do this. We see her pour the Cristal out, put the non-alcohol, then put the plug back in the champagne bottle and wrap it up. She was like, and Gabby in a talking head goes, she didn't have any of it and she opened it? And the producer goes, yeah, she filmed herself doing it. And Gabby just takes a drink and go, And Wes is like, hey, back in the scene, he's telling Amanda and Kyle, he was like, right before we sat down, I go, Lindsay, are you drinking? And then Kyle's like, hey, can we see the bump? And Lindsay undoes her jeans immediately. And Kyle literally is like, what the fuck? And then Jesse finally is getting into it. He goes, we're having a baby. Yeah. And then Kyle's like, we're going to do a water birth right here in the fucking living room. And then Lindsay goes, I'm going to go change out of these pants because I am dying. I love that she's like fucking prop, like she's Carrot Top. And then Jesse goes, this looks like a boy to me. Look at that big ass dick. And then she goes, hey, am I right? Am I right, Lexi? Look at me. Hey, do you like big junk, right? And Ciara's like, Jesse, don't objectify her sonogram. You put it down. And then Jesse goes, having a big dick's a good thing, guys, right? I love that Jesse is taking any opportunity to say as loud as possible that he might be well endowed so Lexi can potentially hear it. So Jesse puts this ultra big, which by the way, oh my God, I should DM Lindsay and see if I can get this for the reality show museum. I would frame it, like do some nice matting on this thing. And then it would be a conversation piece if anybody came over. I'd be like, oh, I see you're looking at that framed sonogram. That's, do you watch the show Summer House? That's Lindsay Hubbard's blown up sonogram that she showed us in season 9, episode 1. So Lindsay goes upstairs and Wes is kind of asking everybody, what's the baby's last name? And is it Hubbard? And they're like, dude, why don't you go ask her? And upstairs, Lindsay and Gabby are up there changing. And Lindsay goes, I'm going to call him. And she calls the dude she had the baby with, this Cooke guy. And she's like, hey, baby, I got through the speech. And in a talking head, the producer says, tell us about your new man. And Lindsay says, Turner. Turner's a very private. He's not on social media. He's a doctor. He's like nerdy, but he's also so fun and funny and like normal. He's a normie. And she's like, I found myself a fucking normie and I love it. And this guy is like shooting like gold bullets, man. He's like, bam, like this guy. Good for this Turner guy. Now, Turner supposedly was backstage at Watch What Happens Live with Lindsay last night because Dumois said a rumor that they had split up, but they're together. But Lindsay was asked about their relationship and she kind of didn't dodge it, but it was just kind of like, you know, it's tough and we never. So I don't know what that necessarily meant, but I hope Lindsay's happy. So she's still talking to Turner. She's like, I can let my little belly out now. And she's patting her belly. And she's like, baby, I got to go to dinner. I just like came up to post and change my pants. So this is when she did the post. The post heard around the Bravo world, right? So Paige is walking out to the hibachi and she's like, I know I'm not ready for kids. Because right when she said she was pregnant, I had a thought where I was like, thank God I'm not. Hey, Craig, there were signs. We see signs. There were signs. And Paige is like, yeah, like I had a moment and what a time to be childless. This is why Paige, like, this is why I think girls especially love Paige because it's like, hell yeah, sit in bed, look at your phone, talk about being childless and being proud of it and saying that's an option too. You know, like for real. I'm not even joking. Anyways, everybody's out in front of the hibachi. Everybody's saying they're pumped for the hibachi. And then Ciara goes, oh my God, Lindsay just dropped her pregnancy announcement on Instagram. And they all open Instagram. And Ciara's like, damn, this bitch got partnership for days. And we see that it's like, well, they kind of blur out the name, but I think it's Clear Blue. The second I had a feeling, I took a redacted early digital pregnancy test. But Kyle's like, did she launch that from her pocket? Kyle says. Oh God, Lindsay, always, she's a businesswoman. And they're like, yeah, 3 minutes past the announcement, she's already posting. And Amanda's reading out the post. And so, yeah, Lindsay's making that cold, hard cash. Jesse comes out and wants to sit next to Lexi. So, you know, they're sitting next to each other. And Jesse's, you know, bearing his soul to Lexi. He's like, I've never done hibachi in a backyard. And I've always wanted to. And Lexi's like, well, your dreams are a reality. And he goes, Japanese food is my favorite. And she's like, me too. God, how hard? Like, of course, we all love Japanese food. And he's like, no way. Oh my God, we belong together. And West and Kyle are just looking at them like, what the hell is going on over there? The hibachi has started. They're flipping food in people's mouth. They have yum yum sauce. It's very exciting. And we hear Jess still trying to keep this conversation going with Lex saying, oh, how long have you been in the city? And she's like, on and off for like 8 years. And he goes, where have you been off? And she's like, well, I've been a model since I was 10. I moved to Paris when I was 16. In a talking head, she says, I started modeling when I was like 10 or 11. We all kind of model around that age. I think for me, it was 8 or 9. And of course, it's continued to this day. She's like, which is crazy because I'm like 26 now. And we see these like modeling photos from when she was 10. Lexi says, modeling is actually a lot more intense than people think. Like when I first got to Paris, my agent sent me a subway map and they were like, you have a casting in 1 hour. Go figure it out. I think I cried like 3 times on my way to the casting, but I booked the job and I was like, okay, yes, I can do this. I'm like, yes, I can do this. I am hot. And then he goes, did you finish high school? And she's like, yes. And she's laughing. And she goes, well, I was homeschooled in high school. And he goes, oh, wow. And you can tell this might be a turnoff for Jesse. And she's like, yeah, I did school like online. And he goes, do you like New York? And she's like, yeah. And then Kyle and Wes are like, they're just laughing at them from across the table, having some bro time as Jesse tries to really like seal the deal with Lexi. Paige says, Lindsay, do you have names picked out? And you know Lindsay does. You know Lindsay has pages and pages of baby names. And she's like, we have a name that we like. And Ciara's like, who is we? And Lindsay's like, Turner and I. And Ciara's like, I don't know, Turner. I'm asking questions. I like that she learned something from the Traitors. She's like, I now dig deep. I'm a detective. Are you faithful or a traitor? And they're like, where did you meet Turner? And she's like, well, we met 3.5 years ago, October or November 2020. And like, did you guys date? And he's like, yeah, we went on a few dates. And like, whoa, okay. And then by the fourth date or something, he called it off. But he texted me this past December. And they're like, just randomly? And she's like, yeah. And Lindsay's like, he's like, we should run it back. And I'm like, what, are you dating Kyle Cooke? We should run it back? Did he say, hey, should we send it off? And Lindsay's like, and I'm like, are you asking me out on a date? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, well, I'm busy. Sorry. Unless you can get me pregnant. Hey, oh no. She said, I honestly was busy. And Ciara's like, well, also still relatively like soon. Like, and Lindsay's like, what? What do you mean? Like soon from Carl? Now the hibachi people are passing out balloon hats, which, once again, great costuming from Summer House. Ciara in the Talking Head says, now y'all know I'm doing math over here. Breakup in September. Wedding didn't happen in November. December, he reached out. July, now she's 4.5 months pregnant. You know what? I'm not even over my parents' divorce. That happened 20 fucking years ago, Ciara says. How did she do it? Some people are just built differently. Lindsay is very unique. She is a shooting star. They're fighting over panda hats, and they're talking about, Lindsay says, yeah, and I guess we're exclusive, but we didn't really like have a whole conversation about it, she tells Ciara. And he's like, we just said, I love you. Uh-oh, Bo's from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And Ciara's like, oh shit. And Ciara's like, obviously Carl doesn't know. Does he know? And Lindsay goes, I imagine it's similar to all of you guys. And they're like, oh, he just found out from Instagram. And she's like, yeah, because I posted. So that's how Carl found out. And Kyle is talking on the other end of the table, goes, if you do the math, it's kind of absurd. And Wes is like, September, November, October. What comes after October? November, December, start over. September, March, April. And Kyle's like, she basically got pregnant like a month after dating this guy. And Paige is like, oh, now you have to lay in bed this summer, Lindsay. And Lindsay goes, I love to lay in bed. She's finally being adopted by the bedsore girls, right? And Paige is like, we are literally wrapped this summer. You have to rest your feet. And then Lexi's still talking to Jesse. She's like, my horoscope says that I'm going to eat sushi, which he's like, that's nuts. And she's like, I'm going to drink wine and I'm going to kiss someone. And this is when Jesse's like, boing, boing, boing. He's like, no way. And Lexi's like, I also double kissed everyone. So that could count. And then they do a weird kiss each other on the cheek thing, Jesse Solomon and Lex. And he's like, that's a single kiss. Where's my double kiss? And then he all of a sudden pops this out of nowhere. He goes, Lexi, would you describe yourself as ditzy? And she looks at him like, what? Zoinks? And he goes, would you? That's a question. And she goes, no. And then Kyle hears this and turns to Wes. He goes, let's get awkward. And then he goes, hey, Lexi, did you take the ACT for college? And she goes, no. And she's like, why? Do you think I'm ditzy? And he goes, I don't know you well enough yet. And she's like, I think I'm just free and fun loving. We stress all week about work. Why would I stress on the weekends? And he goes, I like to have a good time too. Sorry if I offended you by asking if you think of yourself as a ditzy person. And she was like, yeah, it kind of was offended. And he's like, yeah, I could tell. He's nagging her totally. Huh, anybody call you ever a fucking loser, Lex? Jesse says in a talking head, one thing about me is like, if I'm interested, I will find out where your line is. Teeter on it, cross it a little bit, and then retreat majorly. But I will make you feel bad about yourself. He goes, I like to feel people out, Lex. I don't know you well enough. I'm just trying to find out. I take it back. And she's like, we have all summer to figure each other out. And he goes, in a talking head, he goes, but when a smoking hot girl wants to put me in my place, that's a very attractive to me. She's a perfect little angel. This guy got so much therapy ahead of him. Amanda turns to Wes and goes, you just lost your best friend this summer, Wes. And Wes is like, yeah, he's like, I'm moving out. And Jesse and Lexi are like, chin chin and cheersing. So we come back from commercial. Everybody's clapping for the hibachi men. And they're like, oh, now we can compare our food babies to Lindsay's real baby. And they're all bringing in food. They're deciding if they want to go to the local dive bar. It's 10 o'clock. And so Kyle, Jesse, and Wes, they're like, let's fucking go. But Kyle's like, first, let's test out my DJ sound system. And we have all the ladies changing to go out. But, it's 10:19 p.m. Lindsay goes in the bathroom. But downstairs, Wes, Jesse, and Kyle on the ones and twos. We don't need DJ James Kennedy. We got DJ Kyle Cooke on the ones and twos. And all the guys are just dancing. This is so homoerotic. Paige is already fully in bed with her phone out. Amanda comes into the bed. Ciara comes into the bed. The bedbug squad is alive and well, and the guys are just dancing their asses off downstairs. And Lindsay is getting ready for bed. Gabby and her are telling each other they love each other. And then in the other room, Ciara goes, Carl is coming tomorrow, ladies. And they're like, oh no. Uh-oh. Lexi and Bailey find a bug in their room, and they're screaming. They're not in the bedsore bunch yet. The girls are going, what do you guys think of Lexi and Bailey? And Paige is like, they're so cute, right? They're so cute. And we just see everybody just kind of wandering around the house. And Jesse's doing some weird dance to impress Lexi. So Kyle comes into the bedsore bunch group and is like, hey, babe, should I go out? Should I go out with the guys? And she's like, yeah, but you just got to come with the first car home. And then Paige is like, and you got to fill up our Stanleys. I love when somebody fills up a glass for you because, that's a very attractive quality if somebody will like fill up your Stanley or your glass. And then Kyle in a talking head goes, I want to give my wife what she needs to be happy. Finally, Kyle's like, I'm 41, soon to be 42. I need to stop using summer in the Hamptons as my big release. And we have a flashback of all the times that he has pissed Amanda off. And that one time when Amanda got so pissed off, she went in and broke all of his toiletries. Remember that? Oh. Anyways, they're all like saying, Kyle, you're being such a good husband. Get in her water. That's the bare minimum. The bare minimum is water. The only thing we didn't get this episode is a scene of Kyle so hammered that he like gorged himself. Like my favorite scenes in Summer House is when Kyle's in the kitchen by himself eating gummy worms, talking to himself. Like you can really feel the stress coming off of him in those moments. Kyle continues in the talking head. In the past, I just felt like, oh, stop going out so late. Stop partying. Stop drinking. I just felt like it was her trying to control things, but my actions were really upsetting her. So now it's about like trying to be a more respectful husband. So now I get her water and her Stanley. So he brings in the water. They're like, Kyle, you did a great job. And so he's like, oh, now I can go party. So all the guys are going out. Lexi and Bailey stay behind. So I guess it's just the three dudes that went out. And Lexi is talking to Bailey about Jesse going like, do you think he likes me? And I hope he doesn't like take advantage of me just because I'm hot and giggly. And I'm like, okay. So Lexi is already fully in and Jesse's already fully in on each other. In Paige's room, Paige is like, Lindsay being pregnant. Now we're in a different, and Ciara's like, yeah, we've just entered into adulthood. It's like the end of an era. And that makes me scared. Paige says in a talking head, I think in my younger years, had very rose-colored glasses on and off, and then you get a job and you get married and you have a baby. And we have a flashback of Paige 4 or 5 seasons ago talking to Lindsay saying, ideally, I would love to meet someone and get married and have a baby by 30. And Lindsay's like, oh, really? And then in the talking head, Paige continues, I also used to go in a tanning bed. You grow up and you learn things. Craig is ready to get married and have a baby, and I am still not. The signs were there, folks. Anyways, all the girls are going to bed. We have the night vision cameras in the bedroom. Remember back in like good old summer house days when people were actually having sex in the summer house and you would see some like kind of just like light humping from a night vision camera? We don't have that, but I feel like we will have that this summer because of the young blood in the house. I don't mean that in a gross way. I feel like, anyways, Lexi is like bouncing on her bed and like doing flips. We see Kyle come in around 2:00. And Kyle, talking to himself, says, "Let the record state, I am coming home before the youngins. Personal growth moment." Talking to himself. Package is still on the porch. He is not bringing those in. Kyle enters and says, "Jesus Christ, it's cold up in this bitch." The door squeaks into the bedroom, and he's like, "Hey, Amanda, I'm home. I went out with the guys and I came home early. Are you impressed?" Immediately before them, Wes and Jesse come in literally just moments later. Wes trips up the stairs, so it was a good night. We see Jesse tripping up the stairs outside. We see a shot of Paige in the dark, snoring with her phone up to her face, which I have to tell you, I do this a lot as well. So totally, I am starting to relate more to Paige more and more. Wes and Jesse are talking in their bedroom. The lights are off, and he's like, "Can you believe Lindsay's pregnant?" And Wes is like, "If I'm being honest, no. Pregnant Linz and Carl, same house?" And Jesse's like, "It's a crime." And Wes is like, "Crazino." It is crazino. Kyle goes into bed, looks fully naked. And Amanda's like, no. And he's like, "I love you. I love you." We see that Gabby's room is completely empty. Where is Gabby? We don't know where Gabby is. And then Jesse is talking to Wes still in a dark room. He's like, "Dude, man, I come into this house single and now I'm in love. I'm already like tied. I already found a girl." And he's like, "Hey, Wes, it was good being single for our drive up. Sorry, I'm not single no more." And Wes is like, "You're crazy, dude. Oh my God." Just imagine the farts in that room, right? Okay, it's the next morning. Gabby walks in. So she spent the night out somewhere. Good for you, Gabby. Gabby in the talking head says, "This summer, I just feel like if I don't want to sleep in this house and there's someone on the roster that's 30 minutes away, I'm going." Good for you, Gabby. But send a camera crew with you. But she goes, "And also, he's not American. We're going international this year because, frankly, American men are trash." I'm not going to argue there. So Kyle's getting up, the guys are getting up, Lexi's getting up. It is a new day in the summer house, our first weekend, folks. And Jesse groans waking up, and Wes goes, "It's hot as dick in here. Ugh." And then Jesse goes, "I wish Lexi was here." And he goes, "You're sick, Jesse." And Jesse's like, "You're great though, Wes." And they're like giggling like little school kids. And then Jesse goes, "I followed Lexi at like 4 a.m. on Instagram." And Wesley goes, "What if in her bio it just said like Jesse's girlfriend?" And Jesse's like, "Oh." And he's like, hey, Wes, should we go wake Lexi and Bailey up?" And Wes is like, "No, what?" He's like, "But maybe they're awake." And Wes is like, "Do you miss her?" And he goes like, "Well, I want to hang out with her." And Wes is like, "But you and I deserve our first donut. Our first dunk." And so the boys got to go get their first pool on, right? And so all of a sudden, Wes and Jesse jump into the pool together. Woo! Summer house forever. Bailey and Lexi are finding each other. They're in the kitchen. Paige comes downstairs, and everybody's like, "Should we start making some breakfast?" I love breakfast in the summer house. And they're like, "Hey, Lindsay's sonogram is still on the fireplace," which is going to be great when Carl comes in. They're like, "Yeah, Carl, welcome." We see Lindsay getting up, and it's great. But Carl is still not here. Everybody's getting on their pool wear for the day. And Lindsay is changing into her swimwear. And Gabby's like, "Oh, my God, your breasts." And Lindsay's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to tip over soon. Oh, my God." And outside, Ciara's like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see Lindsay in a little pregnancy swimsuit. That's going to be so cute." The guys are sitting up on lawn chairs together, just being bros. And Wes is like, "Kyle, I think we all left the club separately within 5 minutes of each other." And Kyle's like, I love Kyle's like, "I'm mature now. I just pulled the ripcord. I was like, I just wanted to be in bed by 2. And Jesse's like, I think that's a good way for you to like go out with the boys all summer and not get in trouble with your wife. I love that it's like, you're still out till 2, dude. He's like, you know what? I'm reining it in this summer, 3:30 at the latest. And Kyle's like, yeah, I'm making a valiant effort to like give Amanda what she wants, what she needs. Like, dude, she needs her friends around her. And we see all the girls cheersing on the corner of the pool. And then Jesse is looking at Lexi in a bikini and he's like, guys, look at her. Is it just me or is she like really fucking pretty? By the way, we have a shot of just Lexi, like her total backside, not her face at all. He's like, oh my God, she's beautiful. And Wes is like, yeah, all you can see is her ass, you fucking sicko. You can't even see her face. And Kyle's like, yeah, I'll tell you who's putting on a full course press. This guy. And Jesse's like, I'm just upset that my boy and I are just never going to be single at the same time. Ha ha ha. And Kyle's like, wow, we are really rushing this. And Wes is like, that's fucking crazy to say, Jesse. We are moving quickly. And Jesse's like, I just think it's inevitable. I've never seen Jesse this sprung. Granted, I've only seen him for one season. So Kyle decides to do a character development moment and takes his shirt off to get a little sun. And then Jesse calls out, hey, Lexi. Hey. And he does a big toothy smile. And then Kyle says, the question is, like, are you going to drop the L-bomb on Lexi before the end of the weekend? And Wes is like, would you say you love her? And Jesse goes, the crazy thing is, like, I do love her. She's like, seems like an amazing person. And he's all smiling. He goes, I do love her. And Wes sits up. He's like, what? He goes, I won't say it to her, but I do. And Wes is like, it's less than a day, Jesse Solomon. Wait till Jesse Solomon starts singing the doo-wop around her. What would Jesse Solomon do? Tell Lexi that he loves you and show him one of his one ball. Anyways, they're just calling Jesse crazy for this. And Kyle's like, I was just joking about the L-bomb, and now he's like really going to say it. And Jesse's like, can't you guys just be happy for me? And they're just cracking up. The guy, boys are going to be boys. He's like, I thought you were my boys. And then Amanda says, hey, Gabby, is Lindsay a one-piece pregnant girl? And Gabby's like, no, she needs to like let that thing out. And they're like, is she coming out? And they're like, yeah. And Bailey's like, she should lube up that belly and we see Lindsay in a 2-piece. And we see all of a sudden the gates of the summer house open with the SUV pulling through, which is obviously Carl. And Kyle's telling the boys, he goes, I asked in our little boys group text, like, how goes it? But Carl didn't say anything. Did you see that? And we see Carl step out of this SUV. Thank you, sir. And then at this moment, Lindsay comes out and the bump is out. The bump is bumping. She is fully pregnant, folks. And Wes is like, oh, she is pregnant. Shit. Oh, man. Damn. And Kyle goes, yeah, she wasn't hunting that for long. We see Carl enter the summer house. Outside, everybody's going, you are so pregnant, Lindsay. Carl's like, hello? We see a shot of the sonogram over the fireplace. We cut to our last commercial. We come back. Carl says hello once again. And then immediately he walks right outside the front door again. He's nervous, folks. But he's also bringing in packages. Outside, Lindsay says, my tits are popping out. And they're like, they look fabulous. And they're like, it's insane you've been hiding it for so long. Carl's still loading in packages. Kyle says, Carl's going to be here momentarily, everybody. I think we're going to do a little boys' day out. Yeah, get this guy out of here, man. I can't wait for this conversation with the boys talking about Lindsay being pregnant with Carl. And all the girls were like, oh, what a bummer. The guys are leaving. Whatever. Carl keeps going outside the front door. And the producer goes, what's going on? He goes, I'm nervous about seeing her. And the producer's like, sure. He's like British. Sure you are, Carl. And Carl's like, I don't know how to operate there. And the producer's like, there's certainly no guidebook on how to do it. If you're feeling confused, it's fine, but And Carl's like, do you know how many texts I've gotten in the last 24 hours? I mean, it's pretty funny, actually, really reading what people say. She's been pregnant for the last 6 months and hiding it from the world because she knows how crazy it would look if everybody knew she was pregnant. In a talking head, Carl says, I pull up Instagram and I learned that Lindsay has announced her pregnancy. I had my suspicions. A part of me is really happy for her, he says, because that's what she has always wanted. But as someone who is still taking the time to heal and process and really get rid of this anger and resentment that I have towards her, I don't know what to say to her. And by the way, everybody's on a different journey. And I love that Carl recognizes that he needs to heal. but also that he still has anger. And maybe that is unjustified anger, but it is still a feeling that he's having. So it's good that he talk about it, right? We keep flashing back to the ladies out in the pool. Carl is still bringing in packages. And then all of a sudden, Carl comes into the kitchen and Jesse and Lexi are there. Jesse's like, whoa, the Carl Meister. Carl motherfucking Radke. And Carl's like, Jesse fucking Solomon. Bring it in. What's up, brother? And Jesse goes, Carl, I'd like to introduce you to the love of my life. She's like, hi, I'm Lexi. I'm not ditzy. And Carl's like, okay, so a couple new faces. All right. Yeah. And Jesse's like, do you want to come say hi to the gang? And Carl's like, you know what? Actually, let me go pee. I'll be out in 1 sec. We hear Carl just taking the nastiest shit of his life. No, by the way, I would really have stomach issues if this was the situation I was in. Now, outside, Jesse comes out. He's like, guys, Carl's here, by the way. Lindsay looks up from the pool, and they're like, well, where is he? And we see a Carl sign pointing to the bathroom, and we hear Carl talking to himself in the bathroom going, okay. And he opens up the door. He walks towards the fireplace with the sonogram, and then he walks out the door, and we hear Ciara go, Carl! And we see Lindsay's reaction, and other people look up. And then that is the end of our first episode. And then they show us clips of the entire season, which I talked about at the beginning. But we got a great season ahead of us. I hope you enjoyed this. I just love all just the little details of Summer House. Like, I love that every Bravo show has its own vibe. The Housewives, Vanderpump, Summer Houses, Traitors. Like, I love everything has its different vibe. Like Salt Lake, completely batshit crazy. But Summer House, it's all just the little moments for me. What did you guys think of this episode? I hope you liked it, and I hope you liked this today, and I hope you know that you're at Friday, so you can hopefully have a good time this weekend. But join us Saturday afternoon for an all-new recap of The Traitors, where we will make fun of Tom Sandoval once again. Have a great Friday, folks. Bye. Did I just salute?